Please don't be ugly. Please don't be ugly. Please. Oh my God!
Okay, well, number one, it's the performance. So I know that you don't really count from the bottom, but 24,000% from the bottom to the all-time high. So the price performance, obviously that says something. It has real utility because not only is it deflationary, it pays rewards. Once a token goes up in price and appreciates, why would you hold it? You know, otherwise you're going to dump it and just get the money. But if it's paying you something, you have more incentive to hold it longer. What you've done is that you've taken everything good from the good, successful projects and learned what not to do, everything into one token. pTGC has become the master. It's so intelligent and it's so well executed. It's so thought out. And $3 million today of liquidity providing, and if it's a 10x, it's $30 million. If it's 100x, it's $300 million. That's a lot of liquidity. It's a really good looking chart. It always is the most resilient. I watch it a little bit like a degenerate. The market wants this token.
The Grays currency on Pulse Chain, or pTGC for short, is a tax token where all taxes paid enrich the community and are utilized to stabilize the currency, rather than benefiting the team.
For an example with pTGC, with every single transaction, 2% of that goes to giving rewards to holders and stakers. There's more PLS going into the liquidity pools every time a transaction occurs than rewards being paid out. There's always going to be more PLS getting put into the liquidity pool, making it so the rewards that are getting cashed out are actually always backed by more PLS going in.
How does this all work?
We set up the liquidity pools in a certain way to where they're constantly arbitraging each other and then also arbitraging other ecosystem, Pulse Chain ecosystem tokens. Huge LP pools with PDAI, Atropa, TSFI, PET, TLSX. And when we set up our pool that way, we actually are able to get rewards from when all those other tokens are traded. Because whenever those tokens trade in different pools, the bots then have to come and fix our pools as well. And when they come and fix our pools, they have to pay the 5% fee. And then that 5% fee goes to all the stakers and holders of pTGC, which is the way we're able to pay that high APR. Even there isn't even a buy on our chart, which is pretty much one of the first times this has been done, as far as I know.
Hidden from human knowledge, the Grays currency, acclaimed as a groundbreaking application on blockchain technology, emerged from the shadows as a tool mastered by beings not of this earth.
Why are you guys absolutely smashing it against Pulse Chain?
I know last time we chatted, I believe everyone's jaws were just a little bit dropped on some of the accusations that was kind of about how we were a constant leverage play on Pulse Chain, that no matter what Pulse Chain does and PDI does and Teddy Bear does, we are constantly taking the gains and losses from each of those, getting the rewards, and bringing those rewards back to our community. Everything I was speaking about played out.
I'm calling it right now. Versus Pulse Chain. Versus Pulse Chain. We're going to be talking about this a lot in the next year. We are about to see, not financial advice. Not financial advice. Please do not take this as financial advice. This is all speculation.
100%.
I feel we are about to see the largest hockey stick you've ever seen in your life.
I should win an Oscar for the way you made me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Prairie Banana. I'm here with Crypto Kindness, TG Zen, and Crypto Stylist is on her way. How's everyone doing today?
Well, pretty fired up now after that intro video. I don't know who's responsible for that, but that was a lot of fun. Awesome job, Prairie.
Oh, thank you. That was so fun to build. I enjoyed that. And
I
thank
bet.
you for everybody that had feedback for me on it and that had a hand in it.
It was fun to listen to that video and realizing how much of it's kind of already come true. Like a lot of it was forward-thinking statements, like B Root saying there, we're going to see the biggest hockey stick against PLS. And if you go look at the chart right now, it's doing that. Like the hockey stick versus PLS is insane. So it's just so much fun to watch it come, just be breathed into reality.
Yeah, agreed.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, thanks, Banana, for that video. I think that video was even adjusted since you sent it to me last, so it was kind of, some surprises in there for me as well.
There were several versions of that video, and yeah, that's I literally probably have 20 to 30 hours into it.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, that video is almost like a reminder of the journey, right? I still remember when we first even started talking about this product and what we believed it could do, or what my team believed it could do. At that point, it was still, mathematically, we were kind of running the numbers, and it's like, okay, no one's ever done this before, but this is what we believe is going to happen. I've kind of run scenarios, and it's cool to be, obviously 1 year in and see it kind of play out, in my opinion, as good, or even at times I do believe better than even what I thought this machine could do. So it's just super exciting to be here and see something that the team put so much hard work into and so much energy and thought into, not just like a copy paste code and just see if people buy it and sell it, but to really see the mechanics of it play out as we hoped. So
Right. pTGC is technically not a meme coin, but it is memeable, and it has meme-like characteristics. However, it has a bucket load of utility. So it's not a meme coin, but it has utility.
We call that meme-fi.
There you go.
DeFi wrapped in a meme coin. So you get the best of the meme coin, because meme coins, as we know, pump harder than anything, especially if you wrap it in DeFi, which is what the TG, I should say TG Zen, but the pTGC team has done. It's just an incredible build, really, everything that's going on in the background. It seems easy. It's a buy and hold, but it's not easy. What you guys have built is really special, actually. So well done. And I also want to say thank you. I know that there was a comment that was brought up here by Shaka Vibes. Happy birthday anniversary to the greatest ecosystem in crypto. I'm forever grateful for its founder, TG Zen. Thank you, brother. Man, right on. I say the exact same thing.
Yep.
Personally, very thankful to be a part of the community. In a kind of let's have a fun laugh, pTGC and UFO, the best thing that ever came out of the Zen ecosystem.
That's probably very, very true. Zen, I wonder if you might touch on, you're in the spotlight, you're in the limelight. We call you the founder, but there are other. You're gonna have to forgive me because I did not prep you for this question. I probably should have, but there are a couple other founders. Would you mind giving us just a little bit of background on them and how they had a role in this?
Yeah. With the creation of pTGC, it obviously took more than, or maybe not obviously, but it took more than one mind, really thinking of ideas, studying projects, really just bouncing ideas off of each other as a team. So in the build out of pTGC, before really even anyone knew it was being created, we've spent probably 6 months to a year literally even coming up with the system before it was even live. Like, it even was on Ethereum, and then we took what we learned coming off of Ethereum and putting it on Pulse Chain. We took a lot what we learned there and adjusted the things we thought needed to be adjusted to make it an even better product when we brought it over here to PTG or to Pulse Chain. So even once the project became live, there was pretty much over a year of just even working on specifically pTGC, and in my opinion, even a year to 2 years before that, just studying projects and gaining the knowledge to be able to put all those functions and ideas into a singular project. And then I also want to give shout outs to, once the protocol was live, there was certain community members, and still to this day, certain community members that have stepped up in the community and just brought tons of value, done streams, done Twitter, done Telegram, helped with the bots in the Telegram group, helped with just tons of stuff. So it's not even just founders. It doesn't stop there. There's been so many community members that have stepped up and made pTGC what it is today. And that's what I find super, super cool. Obviously we have 3 of them here right now, from Stylist, nice to see you, Stylist, Kindness, and Banana. You 3 obviously had the part in the success to this protocol as well, which in my opinion is the most important thing, is the community. At the end of the day, the code is the code. The burnt liquidity is the burnt liquidity. That's done. At this point, it's the community that's doing all the heavy lifting, and I think our community is just doing an amazing job.
Well, my favorite thing about pTGC, which I've said several times on stream now, is that it's basically the easy button of crypto. You just click the easy button and you sit back and enjoy the ride. You don't have to be trading. You don't have to be glued to charts. You don't have to be worrying about, are my miners coming up? Are my stakes going to end? Am I going to have penalties? Am I going to have any of this type of stuff? It's just the easy button. I freaking love it. But to your point, I want to kind of flip that back to you. One of the things that makes it easy to talk about pTGC and to be like a proud member of the community, if you will. And for me, I could only speak for myself, but more than happy to talk about it on streams, on Twitter, and all this type of stuff, is that you've built such a rock solid protocol that trust in that protocol makes talking about it super easy. I don't need to worry about it being rugged. I don't need to worry about not my keys, not my coins. I don't need to be worrying about anything. So it gives me all the more confidence when I talk about it. Of course, when confidence is king. If people are out there and they're confident, those that are listening can pick up on that. And it really speaks to the quality of the product that you built. And so congratulations to you. And now one of the most important things about something like this is it's not always the best product that wins. It's the most known product that wins. And so as a community, streaming, Twitter, all this type of stuff, we need to be getting the noise out, be making the noise about pTGC and the UFO and the entire ecosystem. And that's super easy because if once we get the marketing out there, we can be the best product and the most known product. And that's when it's just to the moon, and it'll happen. It's just a matter of time.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kindness. I think that, Zen, you've built an amazing product. So it's so easy. We want to come in here and chat about it. Look at, Banana, like he talks and has dedicated so much of his time and energy towards this, because you can really feel how much this has, first of all, changed his life. And second of all, how excited he is about it. And we all feel the same way. And what I will also say about this community, and I think this is a testament to you, because you've set the tone and manner. You created this really brilliant product. You've studied RH. You're so respectful. It's almost like an homage to him, right? Like you're the student. I always say this, you're the student who's become the master in a way, because you've just taken it and you've taken what you've learned and taken it to another level. But this community is one of the communities that's really passionate, but it doesn't have that toxicity. Doesn't have that maxi mentality. We don't exclude other people. We're willing to hear about other projects and other communities and join them. I mean, Kindness and Graphics are doing a stream that talks about the Titan X community and pTGC in the same stream, and tries to bring the communities together so that we can really kind of join forces. So this is one of the first communities I've seen on Pulse Chain that has this kind of culture. And I think that is really powerful too, in addition to this amazing tokenomics, the chart, which is just mind-blowing. Now we have this place where we can come where it's actually pleasant, and it's really positive, and I think it's going to be super productive.
I like that. I wanted to ask a question, but I'm going to start it off with a statement. So I went through the archives. I don't know if anybody has ever done this on Telegram. You go into the media section. I literally did this the other day because I was getting images for the intro at the beginning of this video, which, by the way, is going on my YouTube. It'll be on my YouTube in 30 minutes. And it's also going up on Twitter. So pass it around freely. It's in my opinion, and other people's opinions, it's a good video. So pass it around. It'll get people excited about pTGC and has the has the ability to onboard people today. And now we're at a nice little drawdown. So let's get some people in. So pass that around if you would. So I was on Telegram. I went to the media section. Have you ever done this? It'd take you a long time. I scrolled all the way back through all of those buy bot transactions, all the way past to where there weren't even any UFO buy bot transactions. I wanted to get the first images of pTGC. And then there was stuff in there from, I wish I'd written it down. I want to say there was media in there from 2021. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you were working on, you and the two other guys are working on this thing like at this point years ago, which is impressive. And then, so the question is, the very first clip in that intro video today was a gentleman revealing the logo, which you are using for your screen right now. That is the pTGC logo. Who designed it? Don't use a name, of course, but I'm curious. It's a fabulous logo. Who designed it?
Yeah, I think we obviously came up with the idea of it, of the gold coin with the alien head on it, and then we kind of either sketched it out or just wrote out a description of what we were imagining in our head, and then obviously paid a logo designer to do so. But I think it was just a group effort of, like I said, the first few months to a year, it was a lot of just hour-long phone calls with idea bouncing and then writing down notes until it all started to really come together. And I'm sure the logo was made somewhat the same way. But like you said, this is 2-3 years ago now, so it's really hard to remember.
Sure. Okay, this is interesting. I really believe in the power of the subconscious and the importance of sleeping on important matters, because your mind works while you're sleeping, and you wait. That's why we wake up the next day. We might have an idea for something that we had been working on, because our brain was working on it while we're sleeping, and it just kicked it up a notch, right? So the fact that you guys were working on this for, month after month after month before launch really smacks to me of why this product has been successful. And it makes me harken back to Richard Hart's efforts and month after month after month working on the Hex product and Pulse Chain for that matter. And both, the Hex did a 10,000x. Pulse Chain has a certain level of success right now. But really, I respect the fact that you worked on this project for a very long time. It's people can crank out a meme coin in 15 minutes. I don't know how to do it, but people do it. But this project has merit, much more merit than just a meme coin.
100%. It's meme-fi. Which, you got to get used to saying that, because you want to distinguish it from a meme coin. When you simply say a meme coin, which you need to say because it's got the meme coin type of logo, it's got a lot of the feel of a meme coin, but you want to put it into a kind of its own category and calling things meme-fi. So like, oh, well, if somebody doesn't recognize it, they'll say they know a meme coin, but they're like, what do you mean? Like, tell me more about meme-fi. What does that mean? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Like, here's what makes this unique. But one of the things I'm curious about, I've never had the pleasure to actually stream with Crypto Stylus here. And so I know that in the early days, we were, kind of on some similar streams, mostly RH based, like PLS or Hex type stuff. You took the step to get into pTGC. So I'd like to just hear from you, like, what was it that attracted you to it? What was it that sold you on the idea behind the foundation of the meme-fi? And then last but least, like, how long did it take for you to get, I don't want to say sold, but it's become such a strong believer that you're like, okay, I'm actually going to talk about this in public?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I met Coach, so you know Coach, right? In March at the Pulse Chain conference. There was a conference, the tour. There was a conference in Vegas. So I happened to be, it was just so many coincidences, because I was supposed to go to dinner with one person. I ended up with another person. At that other person I had dinner with, his table was full, so they put me at another table. And so I ended up sitting across the way from Coach. He was across the table from me. And so we're just talking. I'm like, oh, do you have, are you working on any projects? He's like, yeah, actually, I'm a part of this project called pTGC. I had never heard of it. And he explained it to me. And I got the elevator pitch. It sounded really, really interesting, but he and we hung out with a big group. Like, basically there was a party later and all of us went together, and, I got to learn a little bit more about the project. But for me to invest in a project, it's ideal if I've met one of the founders and one of the creators, or somebody who's really involved in the project. So when I started with Hex, I actually had met Richard. I met Richard Hart, and, we had a lot of talks, and it was through meeting him and spending a lot of time with him that I had a lot of confidence in the project. Right. So it's the same situation here. So I met Coach, and then I, at the time, I think that it was in March, it was at the beginning of March. So you guys hit your all-time high. And then, after that, there was a little bit of a cooling off correction, but I just started DCAing. And then as I started to watch past videos about pTGC and the tokenomics, the buy and burn, the liquidity web and the arbitrage bots, and how, the fact that you don't need any human to actually buy the coin, and the tokenomics will still run, and the code will still run, and the system will still go. So as I started to study more and learn about the project, and I truly and understand it, then I became even more excited about it. And then at that point, when I felt like I had enough of a grip and really understood beyond just the founders or, the people involved in the project, and just looking at the chart, really believing what the tokenomics were about, and then seeing the community, I just felt like I really wanted to talk about it, because I feel like this is really taking everything that RH has taught us and applying it in a way that's just so innovative, and that's been that. I mean, the results speak for themselves. It's been a year, and look at this chart; it's unbelievable. So, it was kind of a process, but I also felt like it was. It was just the universe just kept leading me to this. It sounds very LA. I'm from LA, so. But I really do, because I really wasn't even supposed to be sitting at that table across from Coach. And if it wasn't for that incident, I don't think I would have gotten in that early. I would have maybe heard about it now, and then I would have felt like it's too late. But I got in, not in the beginning, but I got in at a good time. So
That's awesome. The goddess of Fortuna has blessed you.
Seriously, it really has.
Yeah,
So.
that's amazing. Super cool. I'm curious, TG Zen, like, what was the inspiration behind this?
Yeah, really the answer to that is one thing I wanted to bring up what you said a few minutes ago. I was kind of just letting everyone talk, was the easy button, right? You're talking about how you feel like this protocol has the easy button, and that's nice for you because with, life just moving around in general, you have kids, you got work, you do need, in my opinion, a token that is the easy button. I still kind of think back, and I don't know if your experience is the same, as when I first started getting into DeFi and investing in DeFi, I definitely did not realize like how much I was going to have to do with some protocols that are out there. I really thought I was going to be able to find a protocol like pTGC or UFO where there was the easy button, where you could actually feel safe just coming in with, let's say some funds, 10,000, 20,000. Everyone's different, right? But you can feel comfortable just parking those funds in there and knowing there's actually a product or a utility working in the back end, obviously increasing the value, giving you more APY, buying and burning supply. But I showed up here and it just didn't really exist, right? The main thing I found was Hex, which, has been amazing. But if there's only one product out there that's amazing, in my opinion, that means there's room for two and there's room for adjustments. And obviously, we're a very, very different product than Hex. I like to say it's like an apple and an orange. They're both fruit, but very, very different fruit. And they both serve a purpose. One day you wake up and you want an apple. One day you wake up and you want an orange. But my goal was to solve what I thought was the problem with all crypto. 99% of the stuff out there is pretty much a scam / a failed protocol. And a lot of the times the people aren't trying to fail. They just don't really have the work ethic. For one, like Banana was saying, like our team has technically like 3 years into this project at this point. I don't know a lot of people that are willing to put 3 years into a project for absolutely no value in return to an extent. So we have 3 years of hard work into the project, and the hard work wasn't necessarily for anything more than for me as well, just as everyone else. I felt like the product out there was needed, that where we could put our funds that we earn in the outside world, because keeping it in the outside world, like in fiat, is constantly getting devalued, right? So I always look at fiat as it's a decent transactional currency, like buying, selling, you got your debit card, it works great. Like it actually isn't that bad as people make it sound. But the store of value of fiat is absolutely horrible. So if you let's say you've worked your whole life and you just keep saving and saving and saving and saving, and you're putting that money in a savings account or a safe or something like that, you are constantly devaluing that money every single year. So if you're not adding to it quicker than the inflation is really devaluing it, you're actually losing money on that value constantly. So it really makes no sense to actually hold fiat. And then this also goes, to things that are really directly related to fiat, like stocks and housing market. So a lot of the gains from stocks and housing markets, they actually don't come from the values actually going up. They come from the fiat value going down. And a lot of people don't actually realize this. So by creating a protocol, in my opinion, that is more directly linked to blockchains and not only directly linked to fiat. Obviously, you have to come in with fiat, but especially with pTGC and UFO, there's actually a few layers between us and fiat. You have to go from fiat to Ethereum to Pulse Chain, then to pTGC. So we're kind of creating a buffer that doesn't directly tie us to the fiat itself, because we don't want to be tied to fiat as far as a store of value. So then that gives us the capabilities to where we can actually do the X's, right? That's what a lot of people come to crypto for, is to make the X's. So we've created a protocol where you can actually make the X's, but then what's the problem is a lot of people, once they make the X's in crypto, they take the money back out to fiat, right? Which then, what are you going to do with that? So there isn't a product, or there are products, like Bitcoin's been a decent one, Hex has been a decent one, but there's still a lot of room for, I think, adjustments to it to, obviously not only improve, I don't want to say improve, but just different ways of looking at creating sustainable longevity store of values. And that's kind of what I look at pTGC and UFO, is it's a twist on stuff that's worked and implemented. So, we kind of twisted the idea a little bit and made it to where we believe you can make all the X's, which obviously we've done a lot of X's already, and I think there's many more to come. But after you do the X's, with most protocols, the only thing you can do with it at that point is then go sell it, and then either go chase another project and possibly lose because you're afraid of the project you're in coming down because there's no sustainable metrics to it, or you just take it off chain and then go fall back into the fiat game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing we're running from. So why would you make the X's and then run back to the thing that you actually have been running from? Because we want to keep our store of value actually separated from fiat to an extent, because fiat's going to constantly be dragging. The inflation is going to be constantly coming out, even though that helps assets, because as inflation comes out, assets technically go up, but that's due to a lot of just smoke and mirrors, kind of. They're not actually going up. It's just fiat's going down. So
That's right.
What I think is important is with this protocol is it's kind of been designed to where you can come in, make the X's that you're looking to make, but then you can actually, I still say, like, take profits, get your wife that car that she's been wanting, kind of splurge a little bit. We've been here for a while. But then with a good majority of it, you can actually sit there comfortably and know that there is a machine working behind you that is constantly buying and burning the chart, constantly adding LP, and constantly giving you APY for doing so. So you're not required to hold your bag and you're not getting anything in return. There's actually a lot of things that are happening behind you to actually ensure that your bag will be worth more over the long term instead of less. And that's the one thing I didn't really think anyone capitalized on, is actually caring about the people who do decide to be in the protocol for not 6 months, but 6 years, 10 years. And actually having a system that's designed to make it to where that set of tokens they own, let's say they're compounding or not compounding, or even if they're scraping a little bit, but there is a machine in the back end making it possible, or more possible than everything else around them, to keep going up and pay them APY. And that's what I think is the most important thing, because then we have a situation where you don't need to actually, once you make that 100x, run back to fiat and end up in the same place that started hurting us in the first place. And the reason why people run back to fiat is obviously they're scared of the token going down 99%. They're scared of a rug pool. So in this system, we tried to look at everything that has obviously struck fear in people in the past and debunk them. Like the liquidity thing, like majority of our liquidity is burned. Well, are you worried about the protocol going 99% down? Well, we have a lot of systems and metrics built into our protocol to, I'm not going to say ensure it doesn't go down 99. I'm sure that's possible in some black swan horrible event. But there is metrics, in my opinion, that will sustain the price of pTGC higher than majority of other tokens out there, just mathematically. And you kind of see that in our chart, right? And that's what I always say. Like, if you kind of question what I'm talking about, just look at what our chart's done, and that kind of shows what the machine is doing.
Hockey stick.
Well, did-
Well,
Go
it's not
ahead.
even only the hockey stick. That's not even what I'm referring to, because the hockey stick more comes from users coming in. That's from people saying like, ooh, everything they've been talking about is coming true. I'm buying a bag. So the hockey stick's coming from that. And then also once Pulse Chain becomes successful, my opinion, pTGC is going to have a massive hockey stick from the adoption of Pulse Chain. But I more mean we're constantly making higher highs against Pulse Chain,
right.
but higher lows. So usually a leverage play on the blockchain will have a higher high, but then it also will have a lower low on the retracement of the blockchain. It's a leverage play in both directions. But what we've seen with TGC is it's a leverage play in the upwards direction, but then it's a, I'm trying to think of the word that would be here, but it doesn't go as far down as Pulse Chain actually goes down. So you get the benefit in both directions. There's less of a retracement and then more of a pump. And ultimately, if you think back to like what would be the best case scenario, in my opinion, that's pretty much best case scenario.
Yeah.
It's super resilient, this token.
Yeah.
So even when there's a correction, it's less violent, it's less volatile, and it corrects very quickly, and it goes back up very quickly, more than other tokens that I've ever, especially one that has a chart that, you know, that's the hockey stick. Usually the correction is quite severe, but with pTGC, that's just really not been the case. And it's in the correction period is quite quick. It moves right back up again and makes another high. That's what I think is kind of super remarkable about the price performance of the token. So I think that, you know, it will be interesting to see. And I think that it's really important to think about, okay, when the next bear, we're all excited about the bull, right? But when the next bear comes, you know, crypto tends to take really, really dramatic drops. And then that's why, to your point, Zen, people run back into fiat, which is the very system we're trying. The reason why crypto was invented was to get away from that system because it's so broken, right? And so you've created a project that, you know, that's designed to prevent people from having to go back into fiat, into the broken system we're running away from.
And there should be less of a correction in the bear market when we pair pTGC with stable coins too.
Yeah. So that's like the beautiful part of the DAO, right? Is in cryptocurrency, you have the environment around you is changing every day. They always make the joke that like 1 week is like a month in crypto, right? Or like 1 week is almost like a year in crypto. It's like crazy how stuff is fast. Everything is moving. So when you design a protocol, you want to actually make sure that you can adjust with everything moving around you constantly forever if you want your protocol to last forever. So even 6 months from now, let's say we're getting closer to the top of the bull. If we were confined to the code that was written down, like right now, our code, it always adds to the PLS pair, right? It's adding to the PLS pair with every transaction. But and our DAO is technically adding to Hex LPs, Pulse X LPs. But when we get to the top of the bull market, it doesn't make sense to us to add to Hex, Pulse X. Where it makes sense for us to add is stable coins, because then we can hedge against the downtrend of the rest of the market. So that's what's beautiful about the DAO is when we get closer to the tip of the bull, we can actually start pushing our proposals towards pairing with stable coins instead of RH tickers. So then our downtrend would not be as big as other tokens who didn't capitalize on this scenario. And it's not that they don't want to capitalize. They just don't have the value and funds to do so. And that's one of the things that always just keeps us chugging along is, you know, a lot of people do not like the fee structure. But how I look at it, look at any business out there. If the business isn't actually gaining value and re-putting it into the business dies. If the value getting put in is actually used for good, it actually makes the business stronger and bigger, and it can grow. And that's technically how I look at pTGC. And then, you know, I look at once we start pairing with stables, and let's say the market does start to go down, Well, think about it. The stables aren't going to go down with the rest of the tokens. Let's say Hex goes on a dip. Well, now the stable stayed here and Hex went on the dip. Well, what's that create? That creates a huge arbitrage opportunity.
Yeah.
So now we're making tons of money the whole next 3 years as the market goes down and starts going back up with huge LP pools. Like we've even talked about this in the past. Like right now, pTGC has like 3 million in LP, and it's pretty much all burnt or locked. So let's say Pulse Chain only does a 10x. Well, now we have 30 million in LP, all making pTGC money, buy-in burns, LP ads. Like we are one of the only protocols that actually exists where the protocol itself and the users of the protocol make money off of the LP. Majority of protocols, the users of the protocol actually make nothing. The volume actually does nothing for them at all. The only people who make value off of the LP are the market makers themselves, the LP providers. But the users of the protocol and the value of the protocol actually do not benefit off of volume, but we do. So it really, I kind of always like to say it's like playing a game or a race against someone, but you're starting yourself 50% ahead of them. It just gives you so much of a better chance to win that race. It's like, okay, dude, catch up. Like it's really hard to catch up when I have a 50% head start. But,
Okay, so thanks for that, Zen. That was good stuff.
Casual observation.
Go ahead.
pTGC and UFO are up 15 and 12% respectively today.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It's awesome.
That's really good.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, TG Zen, that I am going to be one of the people that will exit into fiat because I do want to capitalize on some earnings if I do it. You know, I've always wanted to spoil my wife with a slightly used Toyota Camry, so that's what she's going to get.
Goals.
Exactly. Preferably one from a smoker so I get an extra discount.
Yeah, the cigarette burns in the seats and all.
Okay, we heard how Stylus came into pTGC. And we know how Hayden came in. You founded it, but Kindness, I want you to tell how you came in, and then I want to highlight some of the things that I like about pTGC, and then I think we'll go into Zen, what you have to demonstrate.
Yeah, real quick before Kindness goes, if I could tap on the one thing he just said about the exiting into fiat this bull run. The one thing that I've even been talking to people about is be patient for the revaluation of Pulse Chain, because you know I don't know what your bag size is or anything like that, but let's say it's $10,000 just for this example purposes. Let's say that Toyota Camry was $10,000 and you really wanted to get it for your wife. You've been in crypto for, a while now, and you kind of just want to show her it wasn't worth it. Well, if you're not patient, you don't wait for the revaluation of Pulse Chain, or even just pTGC going up in price, you might have to sell your whole bag of pTGC to get that $10,000, right? And get her that Toyota Camry. But let's say just you are a little bit more patient and you wait for Pulse Chain to revalue. Well, I think Pulse Chain is really undervalued. So let's say it just goes up 10x. Well, now your pTGC, due to Hart's Law and tied liquidity and how liquidity pools work, your $10,000 bag is now $100,000. So now you're able to still get your wife a Toyota Camry. You still take the $10,000 out. Now you still have 90% of your bag earning you passive income and going up in value for the rest of your life, and you only needed to tap into 10% of your bag. And then on the other positive note about it, as just a pTGC community member, if you do wait for the revaluation before pooling some profits, you are now selling that $10,000 instead of into $3 million of liquidity, you'll be selling it into $30 million of liquidity. And that would literally not even put a dent on a $30 million liquidity. Like if you think about the biggest protocols, some of them have only 30 million. Like Shiba Inu only has roughly $30 million liquidity on Uniswap. and
Yeah.
$10,000 buys go in and out of that thing, and no one even blinks an eye. So that's one thing I just wanted to point out is, people are obviously starting to become up on their pTGC and UFO and stuff like that. Obviously, we're like one of the only things going up on Pulse Chain. So it's like people are looking at these bags like, oh, I'm up on this right now. I'm up 10x, 20x. But it's just like, we're up on pTGC, but still no one's up on Pulse Chain really. And that means there's a huge discount still on pTGC because everything's tied. So, and I'm sure that was kind of your plan anyways. You were just saying like you do plan on taking on fiat, but I look at even a lot of other protocols, like kind of what is actually got the mechanics to keep pushing forward and what has the mechanics to keep paying you and what doesn't. So then when the bull run does come, it probably makes more sense to pull from the things that are not paying you APY and that don't have the mechanics to keep chugging upwards instead of the things that are. And if you are pulling from those things, hopefully you don't have to pull the whole amount because of how much it went up, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. One of the cool things about pTGC and the UFO ecosystem is that they pay essentially passive income. So the goal is to spend your yield, not the golden goose. So, if you had a rental property, you would spend the rental income that came in, you wouldn't sell the house. And that's kind of the goal. It depends on how new the Camry is, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, and as the price of your tokens goes up, obviously you have more value working for you. So that's like the beautiful thing we have here. It's not like a rental house to where you have to work your whole life to buy a rental house cash to finally start earning a decent rent check from it, not just give it right to the mortgage, right? This, if we do a 10x, or let's say you have $10,000 and we do 100x from here in the matter of 6 months, which is very, very easy. I've explained the X multiplier theory plenty of times. 10x on pTGC, 10x on Pulse Chain equals 100x. Well, now you have $1 million of pTGC, and if it's still paying around 10% APY, well, you're making $100,000 a year doing absolutely nothing. And obviously that's the goal. That's majorly based on volume though. So if the volume stays where it's at, that's where it should go. If the volume increases, it should be much higher, which would be nice too. I'm sure all of us want higher.
Of course. And the volume, pTGC yield and UFO yield will be highest towards the euphoria stage of the market if we are fortunate to get there, because that's when the real volume comes in. You start seeing multiple $1 million days, $2 million days, $5 million days in trade volume. And that trade volume is what, just think about that. What you're taxing that. If there's $1 million of volume on pTGC and it's 5% tax. That's pretty.
It's 500. That's 500 or not. That's $50,000 a day.
Yeah.
Going to the underlying value of the protocol. Now, 2 million. Let's say we can get pTGC or UFO up to $2 million a day. Well, that's $100,000 a day of going into value of the protocol. That's, obviously 2%, which is 40% of that 100,000. So 40,000 is paying all the holders. So incentivizing them to stay in the system, which most protocols don't do that at all. There is no incentivization for staying in the protocol. Once you get the X's, you just leave. But on top of that, the buy and burn, the LPS, like that's the thing that I think is really going to start to separate this protocol, is like those huge buy and burn days and stuff like that. Because that's if we have a $30,000 buy and burn coming in on a daily basis, what is that? That's a $30,000 investor buying up pTGC every single day, who is literally never going to sell. It's just getting sent right to the debt address. That's like our form of a God whale, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a drunk rich guy sitting down at 2 a.m. thinking he's gonna YOLO into a $1 billion trade, and then he sends it off to the debt address.
I think it's so important to really highlight still how early we are, and to give a little bit, because I know that I've seen some influencers talk about like the pTGC and how, because the chart has just been doing, so well, and it's been just on such a tear that, it's just too late. I wish I had gotten in. Now it's too late. And, none of us know, we don't have, crystal ball. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But to give context, so when I first got into crypto, my first buy was just over $6,000, and I bought 36,667 hex. Okay, and then I staked it. So that, what, today 36,000 hex is like nothing, right? It's like a few $100s, is it? So today, with that same amount of money, just over $6,000, you can buy a dolphin position in pTGC and UFO. So to give context of how early you are, and how early you can, how much meaningful a small investment can make into this system still, I think that's a really important thing to highlight, because that $6,000 that I spent on my first buy into crypto, into hex, didn't even buy me a shrimp position. And $6,000 now can buy you, just over 6,000 to buy you dolphin position and UFO and pTGC. So I think to give that context is really important for people who feel like they're too late.
And the thing that's really powerful about what you just said, it sounds like you got into hex about the same time I did. So like, what's the value of that buy now? If you're buying towards the top of the market, I did something very similar, and I don't even think my hex bag would buy me a Frosty at Wendy's right now. But we're not at the bottom. You look at the chart and you're like, oh, how can this possibly go up? Understand where we are in the market cycle. We're still, like all things based on assumptions, nothing's financial advice. We're lucky if any of this works, it could all go to zero. But understanding the Bitcoin market cycle, we're still a year away, not a year, call it 6 to 8 months away from that real euphoria blow off top. And we're seeing a lot of the indicators, M2 money supply, debt, interest rates dropping, stuff like that, that tend to lead to those higher risk on asset purchases. We're seeing a lot of indicators that the cycle might play out very similarly. And so if you look at that, when Crypto Stylist and I were buying hex, we didn't know the cycle. And at that time we were buying the top. Well, right now pTGC is basically on the launch pad. You're about to buy a rocket that's during the tick down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 stage. Like, this is the time. And yeah, maybe there's a purchase. Let's say if you bought it right now and it went down 20%, 50%, 40%. These things happen in bull markets, but just wait longer. That's the biggest thing. That's why I love it. It's easy button. It's like my 401k, dollar cost average. How am I dollar cost averaging? Well, I'm holding and staking pTGC. So it's just giving me more on its own. I dollar cost average without ever actually clicking the buy button. Same goes with UFO. So I'm going to buy tops. I'm going to buy bottoms, and that's okay, because I just plan to hold. And as I hold, the machine does the work for me. But here's the cool thing that I really like. You mentioned some of the, like the shrimp or the dolphin or the shark positions. If you're listening to this stream and you don't know what that means, it just is a representation of how much you hold relative to everybody else. So for example, a whale position is you hold 1% of the supply. A shark position is you hold 1/10 of the supply. A dolphin position is you hold 1/100th of the supply. The really cool thing that I like about pTGC the most is, let's say you want a dolphin position, but you can't afford it. So what do? You can afford a turtle position. I think that's the next one down. I'm not 100% sure. You can afford a turtle position. So buy a turtle position and then just wait longer, because the machine will do the rest of the work for you. It will continuously pay you dividends. Your staking will pay you more yield. You'll be earning more pTGC during the process in which you just go to work and do nothing. And if you wait long enough, eventually you're going to be the dolphin. And if you have a dolphin position
down, kindness, is squid, and that costs $493.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
it's $493. And to give context for hex, and I'm not fighting hex, I love hex and I still DCA into hex and I strongly believe in it. But just to give context for just how much you can get for your money, to get a squid position in hex right now, P hex is $96,000.
Yeah, that's a great point. And here's another great point. Of course, I say this is my point, so it's a great point. If you want an even bigger position, UFO is less.
Oh yeah, let's look at that.
But the mechanics are the exact same. And even as much that UFO might be slightly more powerful, in my opinion. I'd love to hear Prairie Bananas or the Gray's opinion on this.
Squid for UFO is $112, and a dolphin is $1,120.
And what about a shark?
Shark is $11,000.
Okay. So if you, I mean, random, like if you had $2,000, you could get a dolphin position in UFO and then wait 9 months in high probability that you would end up being a shark because of the buy and burn situation, which is amazing. So you can level up without doing anything. Back to my favorite part about the pTGC UFO ecosystem, easy button.
And you can also look at these positions as buying two. So if you had $2,000, you could buy one dolphin position in UFO and two squid positions in pTGC.
Yeah. And you know what's better than one dolphin? Two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if you can't have a shark, then have a few dolphins. That's the way I look at it.
But the ecosystem as a whole is like the blueprint of delayed gratification. This is what we learn. This is the compounding effect. This is the eighth wonder of the world, which is compound interest. And it does it all by itself. It is the easy button, especially if you are reinvesting your yield by continuously staking it. But those decisions you need to make on your own. They do have risk versus reward, this type of stuff. So none of it's financial advice. We're lucky if any of it works. TG Zen, I'd love to hear your kind of thoughts. I'm not sure how much you can say as the founder, but like UFO right now, you can get a sizable position for less dollars. From a performance standpoint, in terms of how they're both designed, is there a difference between the two in terms of which one is going to essentially design to perform better? Are they kind of on the same par, even though I know how they work differently? I'm sure others do not.
Yeah. So UFO obviously is more of a farm, but you don't have to use the farm to benefit from the farm, which I think that's like the coolest part about it is bigger players or other players that do like LP adding. Not everyone likes LP adding at all. I'd say majority of people don't. But the cool thing is with UFO, the people who are LP adding are actually benefiting the people who are just deciding to hold it. And with UFO, when you hold, it's similar to single-sided staking. And this was like a design build with both pTGC or UFO is with PulseX. Everyone was so hyped on the buy and burn. The buy and burn is such an awesome metric. And then they were so hyped on the single-sided staking. So they loved the idea that you could just hold PulseX and get paid more of either a different token or PulseX. I don't think it ever came out of what was going to be the paid out system, but you were going to earn APY not only from the price going up. You know, this is most standard investments out there is the APY that's paid out from other investments is usually the price going up. But on top of that, earning more of something. So that was one of the biggest pieces of UFO and pTGC is I knew that those two features of PulseX, and this is kind of when I go back to, I studied tons and tons of projects, PulseX, Hex, and then other non-RH tokens as well. You can literally just hold UFO and know that there's a whole group of people who are LP people who are adding to the web, and all those people are working for your bag, creating one of the biggest webs on Pulse Chain. So now you have the buy and burn function that's in PulseX, and just by holding, you have the single-sided staking function that everyone's been waiting for over a year and a half now, pretty much. You just got to hold. And this is with pTGC as well. It's got the buy and burn function, and it's got the single-sided staking. pTGC even more because you can actually single-sided staking it, but then you also earn just for holding as well. But personally, I think UFO is still completely under the radar. I think people do not understand how powerful that machine is. It is a 12 million market cap or 11 million market cap with $6 million tied with RH tickers. If anyone thinks that either of these products are overvalued, you actually think RH tickers are overvalued because they are so heavily tied with RH tickers. They get moved everywhere RH tickers get moved in a diversified way. So since they are tied to all of them in turn, they get the mean of what all the RH tickers do, plus all the buys on the chart as well. So if, for example, today Hex is up like 20%, Pulse Chain's up 5%. Well, what's in between that? Like 13%? Well, how much is UFO or pTGC up today? Like 13%. Wow, like that's the mean of it, you know? So you actually get to capitalize on everything that the RH tickers are doing, plus you're holding a highly deflationary token that's also paying you APY, and there's plenty of LP there. Like we said, there's 6 million, and I'm very, very interested to see how UFO starts to act when Pulse Chain tickers start to actually run up. Like today's a good day on Pulse Chain, but we're still in the trenches, right? We haven't really broken through yet. And you can win just by holding. You know, you're getting the APY, you're getting the buying birds. You don't need to participate in the farm. You know, the people who do participate in the farm obviously get paid in PLS, and there's different incentives, but you don't have to partake in that. You still get APY just by holding. And I think no one has even put together how crazy of a machine UFO is personally. Like if you look at that chart, it just keeps chugging up step by step by step by step. And I study these things like no one's business. That stepping up isn't from much human interaction.
None.
Majority of the buys and sells and the stepping up of UFO is specifically from the machine. And that's what I go back to, is these systems are dependent on the machine for the most part. If humans interact, we know what happens. Like that's where those God candles come in, like pTGC recently had. That was human interaction. That's what sends them up. UFO is yet to even see that, just because I think it's still kind of soaring around under people's radar. It's the, you know, I love the name of UFO because it actually kind of acts like a UFO. It like is just flying around and no one knows it's there. But I do think sooner than later, people are going to start to register what this thing is actually. And, you know, obviously it will have green candles from people buying, but it doesn't need it. And that's what I think is the most important thing, is if you look at the chart right now, that stair step is just the machine doing what the machine does.
I mean, it's crazy impressive. I'm looking at the local low, which was in July. From there to now, let me see. I'm going to use my little tool so I don't have to do math in public, because that's never been a friend of mine. So 83, it's up 83%, if I'm doing that right. No, it's got to be more than that. No, it's about that. Wait, no. Okay, see, I just went and did public math again. That's awful. Tried to use the tool to make it not look so bad, but it did. Okay. Yeah, it's up 515%. That's more like it. So it's up 515% since July. And I don't know what the average volume is, but it is looking like it's around $15,000 to $20,000 a day, which is nothing.
Well,
that is so low.
Just that one pool. So how UFO
that's true. Good
operates is, like, if you look at today, like I think in particular today, the Pulse X pool had the most volume.
Okay.
The majority of volume that goes throughout UFO is all the web. It's not actually human interaction. So with UFO, I think there's roughly like 60 to 70K in volume today. I would bet 90% of that is specifically machine arbitrage bot action.
So have you done calculations on the average daily volume amongst all pools? Yeah, today UFO PLSX is still only 20,000 in 24 hours.
Yeah, but you add them all up, right? So
sure.
Like when you start adding them up, it's closer to like 60 or 70, probably
63,000 today. I'm showing secretobank.com.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Cool. Very cool. It's still very low.
Which is still very low.
Yeah.
Yes. And
still
that's
very
what
low.
I think the important thing is it's still operating at a suppressed measure due to the blockchain we're built on being suppressed. and it's still doing these crazy numbers. So if you think, okay, we're a volume and volatility based protocol, and we currently don't have a lot of volume and volatility, but we're still
cliffhanger.
You may have gotten a phone call. So
That was awesome.
I was going to share this anyhow, but this is a tracker that I've been using, and I only have a couple of days of transactions. You see right here, I imported UFO, which is here in this image, but this is the pTGC tracker. So you can see there were 182 transactions yesterday, and then the day before 167. And then that would be $44,000 of volume on the pTGC WPLS pair, $41,000 the previous day. But then you look over here. Now, mind you, the whole Pulse network is pretty slow right now. PHEX, almost 9,000 transactions, $7 million in volume. And then you can go over and you can see DAI had 3,300 transactions, $235,000 in volume. And in my opinion, this transaction volume and the dollar volume is where pTGC is headed. And then you can see that UFO is not far behind with 49 transactions yesterday and $15,000 in volume. And while we're sharing this screen, just to put some emphasis on the position costs so you can see it, okay? pTGC Dolphin position, I just updated this morning. It was $4,000. It's probably gone up a fuzz, but you could get, for example, 2 squid positions for $850. Then UFO Dolphin position, $1,000. Squid, you could get 9 squid positions for $900. That's how I look at it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Your chart takes into account the tokens that have been burned. So then the positions are now less expensive. Where I've been looking on Go Pulse, where it tracks it from the original supply. So the cost of is actually not quite accurate. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I go with the existing supply.
Yeah. No, it's more accurate.
Sure.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, at this rate of burn, I mean, maybe one day I'll be a whale. That's my hope. Just hang on.
That's the beauty of the deflationary tokenomics is that, like, let's say you get 1 squid position. Then when 10x of the token of the supply has burnt, then you become a dolphin position.
Yeah, that's like what I was saying earlier. Just wait longer.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as the burns happen, as
your position will just naturally go up without doing anything.
Exactly.
You'll get a promotion.
I'm very excited. My next promotion is likely to happen in probably 3 to 4 months. So,
yay!
I'm paying attention to it. I'm like, oh, come on, baby, burn.
Yeah,
I want my promotion.
So
I'm a ways away from a promotion, but it's okay. I'm in it for the long term.
That's right.
Oh, while we're waiting for
he's back. I brought him back.
He's on.
Okay. You had asked how I got in, and so I just wanted to share that story.
Please.
It's same as Crypto Stylist. It's a lot of thanks to Coach and another individual that I've become good friends with, who's relatively active in the pTGC ecosystem. But I remember it vividly because I wasn't sleeping well this one particular night. We're doing all sorts of construction in our house. It was a mess. And I was sitting there. I couldn't fall asleep because I had sawdust in my eyes and my bed was all dusty, all this type of stuff. And I was just like, oh, whatever. And I heard my phone vibrate. And I was like, oh, one thing that always helps good sleep is to look at your phone in the middle of the night. So I grabbed that. And it was a text from Coach. He's like, hey, I'm working on something. Take a look at this. It was just a contract address. And it was the contract address for pTGC. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll pitch a little bit at this, whatever. I'm not sleeping. So that was single-handedly my biggest buy I was ever able to do because the price went up so fast. So I was pretty happy about that. So I got in early. Again, many thanks to Coach for sharing that. And then it was like 2 days later, this gentleman I've become very close friends with started talking to me about it and was like, because we were both very active in Zen. And after that, it was just off to the races. I was like, okay, this is sweet. I want to start talking about it, start streaming this type of stuff. And it worked out really well. So sometimes just being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people. Your network is your net worth.
Totally.
That's right. So my backstory in a nutshell is Crypto Kindness brought me in. I follow you on Twitter, and I'm not on Twitter a bunch, but I happened to catch this tweet of you posting a screenshot of Access Alive in the pTGC Telegram. And since not only one person that I love and respect was in it, but two, I got in the same day. So thank you, Kindness, for that tweet. It worked. My favorite thing about pTGC, I love the yield. I mean, you can, like you said, you can set it and forget it. Earning yield actually 3 different ways: by holding, staking, and locking pTGC. And right now, might only be making a few dollars per day, but going into this bull run, as transactions heat up, that's going to increase the yield coming into my wallet. And not only is the yield going to increase, but the value of the tokens that I've earned is going to increase, which I really look forward to. Somebody commented in the chat earlier about an airdrop. I actually met somebody, I believe in Telegram. It was in Telegram. And somehow they had just found out that they had an airdrop of pTGC in their wallet. Most of the people that received the airdrop dumped those tokens, probably regrettably. But I think, was it TG Zen that you had to hold to get the airdrop? Somebody correct me.
It was, yep. Okay.
TG Zen. If you held TG Zen, you might have an airdrop if you haven't checked yet.
Yeah.
And B Roots at the end of his show yesterday says, this is just by the way. And then Zen, I want to go into not the outro, but the last part of this stream, if you will. B Roots, this is public. He said it on his stream, so there's nothing hidden or private. But he said, I don't know if you know this, guys, but he says, Ian, if Pulse doesn't go to 0.05 by July, I'm done with YouTube. And it's on he put it on his Twitter this morning. Wow. That's a bold statement. So either he's like done with YouTube, or he believes that Pulse will go to 0.05, which is I think I haven't done the math, 1,000x. Do you know what that's going to do to pTGC and UFO? What it could potentially do? This is not financial advice, and this is all moon math, and it could all go to zero. But we have some idea based on history, a full year now of history, what a good, strong Pulse run could do to pTGC. It's very exciting.
That's exciting. I heard him say that, and I was less moon boy. I was like, I think he just wants to be done with YouTube in July. So that's his excuse to be like, well, I said it, I got to delete it, whatever.
Right. But I hope he's right.
Yeah, that would just be insanity. Ooh, that'd be pretty neat. I would probably buy a brand new Toyota Camry at that point.
For your wife.
Yeah. Guys, I got to bounce. I really appreciate the invite, Prairie. It's wonderful to spend time with you, Crypto Silas. I'm very thankful that we had an opportunity to connect here.
Thanks.
TG Zen, as always, I'll be talking to you again many other times. This is a great place to be. It's the easy button. It doesn't get any better than this in crypto. So anybody that's listening, if you haven't gotten in, it is not too late. It's not even close to too late. You're still early. Never mind the chart. Look at the ratios and understand what pTGC and UFO can do in relation to the other RH tickers that it's paired to. If you understand the ratios, man, have fun. It's going to be a wild ride. So thanks for having me here, everybody. I got to bounce off.
Thanks for jumping in, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Hey, Kindness, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. TG Zen, would you
Yeah.
like to?
I'll touch base on, you guys were talking about how, the buying and burning kind of makes the whale and the shark and the
Mhm.
dolphin come closer to you.
Mm,
The cool thing about it I like is it's kind of like you're walking towards your goal, right? But
mm.
that goal is also walking towards you at the same
Yes.
time. So it just makes it it's like running a marathon, but that it's like they put the marathon finish line on some tracks that is coming closer to you at the same time. So it definitely makes it nice that your finish line is moving in the direction that you're going at the same time as you. So you come to that finish line faster, or that goal faster.
100%. I love that.
That's interesting. Yeah. TG Zen, do you want to share your screen?
Oh, I'm on my phone.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I gotta share mine. Hold on a second, guys.
And then before I went off, I was talking about how pTGC and UFO are volume-based protocols, and they're obviously functioning extremely well, right?
Mhm.
But we still are in an unfavorable environment for what
Mhm.
these machines actually are. They are really only possible here on Pulse Chain, but one of their main functions is obviously they capitalize on the volume and the volatility of the entire market of Pulse Chain. And we've yet to really see this kick in. Every time we see a glimpse of it kick in, you see our charts spike up, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited to really see how these machines function once Pulse Chain actually is up 5x, 10x, 20x. I know you were just talking about B-Roots' 1000x call and like what that would do for pTGC. I think anyone that's run the numbers know what that does for pTGC. It's almost unthinkable.
Yeah.
So even like 100x puts pTGC in the machine at unthinkable numbers. Like right now, between UFO and pTGC, there's roughly almost 10 million liquidity. So if you 10x that, that's 100 mil. If you 100x that, that's a billion in liquidity. Do you know how much value we would be making off of arbitrage bots with a billion in liquidity? It's almost unimaginable. It would make us. Sorry, I was getting a call. It would make us a huge force, not only on Pulse Chain, like that's not really my goal. My goal is to be a force on all of blockchains.
Mm.
Like we don't want to stand out on Pulse Chain as a top altcoin. We want to stand out comparatively to every single token on any blockchain. Because if we can stand out there, we will help onboard people to make Pulse Chain and Hex and PulseX even more successful.
That's so true. Zen, I'm curious, have there been a lot of people from other chains reaching out to you recently or more?
When I felt the most amount of people reaching out about Pulse Chain and pTGC from other chains is when Pulse Chain went up to the 0.0002.
Okay.
So this happened in like January when there was
Yeah.
a little bit of a run of Pulse Chain.
Mm.
When that scenario is happening, it's green candles bring
Yeah.
other people. If it's not someone who's a Pulse Chain maxi, they will not be coming over here until they see money moving over here.
Yeah.
And that's the green candles. No one, like most of people in crypto, go to where the gold is. Like they're the gold rush people going to California once someone already struck gold, right?
Mm.
No one was moving over to California before the gold rush when no one was striking gold. Once
Yeah.
someone struck gold and said, hey, there's a lot of gold over here, that's when everyone goes. So obviously we're all arch maxis. So we're here building, we're digging. We know it's here. We know the gold is here. But since it hasn't been struck yet,
Mm.
the others, the people who follow that trend, and the others is the majority of people, right? We are the 1%. We are still waiting for the 99%, and that's good to be the 1%. That means we're before the S curve. You don't want to be part or the end of the S curve is obviously the worst part. Majority of people are part of that S curve, and they're fine with that because the majority of people will come in, they'll get a few X's, a 10X, and then they hop out. They're here just for the trend. But to the people who believe in the early days, in my opinion, these are the people who actually reap the most rewards. So I'm just really happy with where we are. But that's when I felt the most amount of people like asking me like, how do I get over there? Like, it's when the green candles come.
Yeah. Okay.
But what we
Fair
can
enough.
do in the meantime is produce our own green candles. We can
Exactly.
keep doing our X's. We have tons of growth we can do as our own protocol, and we will get people across the bridge just with our protocol. But when the real floodgates open is when the blockchain in general starts to move up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Agreed. All right. You ready for me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And for the guys that got the tweet yesterday, this would be the exciting outro.
Oh,
An
nice.
update to the game. So here's the old game, and I am going to refresh my screen, and hopefully we'll have a new game. Okay. Let's refresh this screen. 255 people in here watching. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Is this what I should be looking at? TGZ?
Yeah, that's the new game. It's the same exact format, just with a couple code changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be dramatic.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not really the front end that changed. We adjusted the code a little bit. So
okay.
For the 1 year anniversary, we kind of took some ideas from the community that they suggested for the game and implemented them, and obviously it's got implemented today onto our website.
I know a lot of guys have been waiting for this.
Yeah.
So this is good.
One of the big changes is with every single game, there's now 25% of that game gets rolled over to the next game. So let's say if there's $2,000 in that game, well, $500 of that gets rolled over to the next game to spark the next flame necessarily. This is an idea from the community that we implemented into the game to keep it to where, there's still a winning in the next game if the previous game had a lot of attention. Another thing is they wanted there to be a bonus if you bought a certain amount of tokens. So what we did, or not tokens, tickets. If you get 20 tickets, you get an additional 2 tickets. So there's a 10% bonus of tickets if you get more than 20. And, that's kind of the bonus we put into the code.
Okay, and the tickets are 25,000 pulls. So the bonus, if I can put it that way, like the 25% that goes into the next game is going to be 25% value in pulse.
Yes. So all this pulse does get changed over to pTGC. So you enter with pulse, and then the pot becomes pTGC. And when the pot turns into pTGC, the winner will get 50% of that pot. So it's a raffle. So after 3 days, there's going to be a winner drawn off of the tickets via the code. It gets randomly selected. You get 50% of the pot. 25% of the pTGC gets sent to the dead address. And then 25% of the pTGC gets sent to the next game. That will be the next 3-day period.
So this is going to burn even more pTGC.
Yeah, it's been designed to be a fun way to buy and burn pTGC while also, having a winner. Someone could come in, obviously, buy 2 tickets, and if it's a huge round and they win, they obviously got a decent bag for very, very cheap. But it all really depends on the game. It's just a fun way, a raffle. And for the 1 year anniversary, I think a decent amount of us will be playing the game for this next 3-day period, just as a celebration of hitting 1 year. So it should be a fun round is what I'm getting at.
That's so cool.
We can celebrate by burning pTGC.
Yeah. With a decentralized raffle, ultimately, it's a fun celebration. We've been here a year. The code's been operating amazingly. Our chart looks amazing. So I think that's a fun way to celebrate is a decentralized raffle, ultimately, like a party. So I hit everything that did change. So now you get an additional 10% when you buy over 20 tickets. That's one of the changes that the community came up with. the 25% going to the next game, that's another community idea that we implemented in it. Trying to think if there's anything else. We did increase the price of the tickets, so now they used to be $10,000 a ticket. They're now $25,000 a ticket. Pulse, yes. Yep. Oh, and then this is the other fun function. So you see, it says buy ticket, and then send. I forget what it says. Send fund. Yeah. So we wanted to add a way to where if an individual wanted to, let's say, put pTGC but PLS into the game, but they didn't want any tickets for it, they're able to now send, let's say, $1 million. They wanted to put $1 million PLS into the game to just add a pot to it. You know, even you see this in other raffles, like someone will donate to the raffle for the people participating to have a better prize to win or whatever. So we made it to where someone could kind of donate to the smart contract a certain amount of PLS to make the pot bigger, and they don't have to get tickets if they don't want. Obviously, most people are going to want their tickets so they get the chance to win, but let's say, I'm going to give an example here. There's a proposal in the future that says, hey, we want to do 5 million PLS to the game. Well, now that person that creates the proposal can now put 5 million PLS to the game, but they can just send the funds to the smart contract and not get any tickets. So now those funds are only for the people who actually buy the tickets. And you can add the funds without getting a share of the tickets, making it to where if you did that, you'd obviously probably win because you'd have more tickets than everyone else and you'd have better odds. But with this system, you can add the funds in and actually get no tickets, giving the users the best opportunity to win the game, ultimately.
Okay. Very, very cool. So I'm assuming that if I put 20, if I buy 10 tickets, that's going to be 250,000 pulse. Then that pulse is going to buy pTGC. And so this number up here in the total TGC to be distributed is going to increase, which increases the pot that's going to be used for the distribution. Is that how it works?
Yes, there is a threshold that has to be hit for when it trades the PLS to pTGC, and this is for gas purposes. You know, you don't want to do the swap on every transaction because on very small transactions it just costs PLS. So it hits the threshold, swaps it for pTGC, and then after the 3 days, it then obviously operates as a smart contract.
Okay, cool. So the more users there are, the bigger the pot is going to be, but the less users, the smaller the pot. So there's really, I mean, if we have 500 participants or 5 participants, it doesn't really matter for the pot size. What you could potentially earn is what I'm getting at.
Well, it matters is if there's more people who participate, the pot obviously gets bigger. So then you as a participator have the chance to win more, but your chance might be less.
There you go.
There's more people, yeah. And then you say there could be a huge round and there's a bunch of people playing, but let's say no one plays the next round and you're the only one that plays. Well, then you're going to be the only one participating for that 25% that got shifted to the next round. So, there's a couple different ways to play it, but
yeah, right. Nice. Stylist, do you have any questions about the game?
No, I think it's a really cool thing to do and fun, and also just to get more. It's branding too, Zen. It's branding for the project. So all the different ways you can get people to participate and talk about it is how you get the word out there, and that's how the community grows and it increases the value. So it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's fun, especially due to the timing of the update. We're at 1 year. I think we should all be happy. I'm happy to be here on Pulse Chain. I'm happy to be part of such an amazing community and be here with you guys and, have a mission and a plan. Like we all have our goals that we're trying to reach, and we have our goals of being financially free and bettering our lives and our families' lives and doing it together as a whole. And I feel like this system just gives us such an amazing opportunity for us all to win.
Yeah.
Because with most tokens and most cryptos, it's not that way, is the sad truth. And a lot of people don't realize it. It's one winner, 99% losers. And I do believe this system actually is like has a huge chance of making it to where the many actually can win. Because when a group of people come together and they have the same mission in mind, and we all kind of set that goal and we understand how holding actually increases the price, and we let the system do what the system does, and pay us our APY and increase our price of our tokens. And I do believe it creates a system where we all can actually, or majority of us can win. And I think that's very, very special. And you don't find that in a lot of places. Our community is just so amazing. And I think we all are starting to understand the mission, and, we're working in the right direction. And we've been educated and taught by the big man himself, RH. And I'm just happy to be here and have this product here on the most decentralized blockchain, with liquidity locked on the most decentralized DEX, with one of, in my opinion, the most decentralized products out there. So it's just, all the arrows are aligning, and it's just an awesome opportunity, in my opinion.
But Zen, you should feel really proud. A huge congratulations. What you've created is truly remarkable. And I know it wasn't easy in the beginning, because, to make your name in this community and to do something that's, in the RH system, in the community that's not an RH ticker, I'm sure it was difficult in the beginning, and you just pushed through, and the product just has proven itself. And I really admire you, and I'm thankful to have found this project.
Yeah, obviously, I've talked to people about this all the time, is you can kind of look at what you're looking in a protocol and you kind of check the boxes, right? And I honestly believe this checks all the boxes of most hexagons and pulseskins, besides the part that I'm not RH. You know what I mean? That's the main feature. But when you really look down and you look at what the protocol it is, I think it has all the teachings of RH implemented, and it has the heaviest tines with the RH tokens itself. So if you are to venture out of RH tickers, personally, I believe this hits the nail on the head. Some people don't, but I never really thought anyone would just trust me. I never expected anyone to trust me. I want people to let the code do what the code does. There's no reason to trust me. You know what I mean? You just need to study the protocol and watch the protocol, because trust isn't given, trust is earned. And right now, celebration of 1 year, we've had a year out here educating people on the system. Maybe that's not long enough for some people to say I've earned their trust. Some people it is. Some people, obviously got involved really early, but I'm just really thankful for the people who did listen to me and hear me out and open up their mind to there being other people that had good intentions on Pulse Chain, other than just RH.
I think it has been a great stream. Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate everybody in the audience, the participants in the chat. Let's have a great year. So this was the first year, pTGC, highly successful. And I think that I personally believe that there's a lot more coming, a lot more X's and a lot more content. I think we're going into a great period of time for the next year of pTGC and UFO, for that matter. All right. Well, with that, I think we'll just close it out. You guys good?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And thanks everybody for being here, of course. Have a good day and a good weekend.